I've just received my limited edition HPC from Chicago Airbrush Supply, and this is the anniversary edition, marking the 50th anniversary of the HPC, what was to become a revolutionary airbrush. Before the time of the HPC, airbrushes were only limited to spraying dyes and inks because of the clogging issues that airbrushes had with acrylics. However, the HPC was a groundbreaking airbrush in this area because it allowed artists to spray much thicker pigmented acrylic paints, and they wouldn't get the clogging issues. Now, for all you airbrush artists out there, you can imagine the whole new world that this opened up for the industry, allowing artists to gain coverage and opacity with their paints through an airbrush. For this reason, the Iwata HPC became one of the most widely used airbrushes in the illustration industry. Well, before the advent of computers, that is. Now, the packaging that this little beast arrives in feels very similar in quality to the airbrush. It's strong and firm. Upon opening the box, you're presented with a well-packaged metallic blue and polished steel case. Inside the case, you have your anniversary edition HPC, the standard Iwata spanner that most new Iwata airbrushes come with, Iwata Super Lube, which I'll be using to prepare the airbrush immediately before I start painting, and also a pistol grip filter. I'll definitely be using the pistol grip on the airbrush. I just love the way it feels to hold the airbrush with one of these things connected. It's just like you've got a whole extra grip to hold on with, makes everything more comfortable and less strain on your hand. Nicely balanced too. The anniversary edition HPC comes fitted with a 0.3mm nozzle and head assembly setup. Perfect for all-round use. Whether you're wanting to achieve extremely fine detail or for use with very thick pigmented inks, even for fine detailed automotive use, this is a gun that will do the job. One other thing that I love about this anniversary edition is the gunmetal color chrome. It's not really a super silver chrome, it's more of a gunmetal sort of chrome. It's really nice. It's a lot darker than standard airbrushes. So why don't we try give it a run for its money, see how it performs on a portrait. Now I'm going to be using Createx illustration airbrush colors through the airbrush, and I'll reduce this paint around 20%. Combination of this airbrush and these paints slightly reduced is really going to test the amount of detail that I can get out of this little weapon. So let's push the limits of this little guy and let's see what sort of detail we can actually get out of it. The detail I'm getting out of this, you don't get many guns that beat this sort of detail. Couldn't really ask for more than that. Go for it with this little line down here. Super fine detailed line. And it just pulls it off easily. That's awesome. The trigger is robust and feels very firm. It's also got some room for play. If you undo the handle, just loosen the needle chuck, not the needle chuck, but the trigger spring adjustment a little, and you'll find that it actually eases the tension when you pull back on the trigger a little. Same as the airbrushes today, except this is from 50 years ago. It's amazing. Nice and comfortable to use, no strain in the hand. The one thing that I do love about a HPC airbrush is the robustness of the design and build, obviously. Now, even though this airbrush was designed over 50 years ago, to be honest, it doesn't feel like there's been that big an improvement in 50 years in the way that airbrushes work, because I couldn't ask for any better functionality than what I'm getting out of this right now. See how we go on a couple of very fine detail eyelashes, eh? It's comfortable in the hand, it sprays really well, and I mean, I've been doing this portrait for over an hour now, and I can tell you I'm not getting any sort of strain in my hand. Just means that it's comfortable and nice to hold. Actually well balanced, especially with the pistol grip filter as well. That's awesome, you can really see it all starting to come together now. And like I said, you couldn't really ask for any more detail out of an airbrush. I mean, this is looking pretty good. It's really easy to see why Iwata call this their go-to airbrush, because it just never lets you down. You can really belt these airbrushes around, give them a hard time, leave paint in the cup overnight, let it dry, kick them, push them, smash them in walls, although I wouldn't recommend it. But 9 times out of 10, when you've abused this airbrush, you pick it up and you'll find that it still works. And if it doesn't, then all you need to do is give it a good clean, another lube, and I guarantee it's going to be working again. Overall, I've got to say I really like the airbrush. Like I said, it's comfortable to hold, it's well balanced, and it performs really nicely. I'm getting some super fine detail out of it, which I didn't expect after using microns for so long. But it just doesn't miss a beat. It's nice, the spray pattern is clean, it's consistent. I'm not finding any jitteriness or any inconsistency in the flow. It's a real pleasure to use. For a chance to grab a gun that turned the airbrush industry into what it is today, you can visit Chicago Airbrush Supply. I'll put a link in the description of the video. Now there's only 1,000 of these little beasts available worldwide, so I'd say you'll have to get in quick. Now I'm going to finish off the rest of the portrait that I've started and have some fun with my new little toy. Thanks for watching, we'll see you around. Don't forget we're on Facebook, Twitter, and we've got the Orange Airbrush Forum if anybody has any big questions they need to ask. All right, thanks for coming, see you later.